Hey guys, good evening everyone. Good evening everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of our weekly dev sessions, and today we continuing from the last project we did in our journey to master HTML and CSS. So as you join, please just get the link and share it with your friends, share it on WhatsApp and share it on Twitter. Let's get as much persons as possible to join in and benefit from the wealth of knowledge that was shared tonight. Yeah, so just share the link, guys. Share the link. Starting at exactly 8:30, we've got our host, our speaker, Manuela, and she's ready to share the value tonight. So share the link and share it. Let's get as much messages as possible. Guys, welcome once again. Please join the session. Get the link straight on WhatsApp, straight on Twitter. Let's get as much person as possible into the session tonight. There's a wealth of knowledge to be shared, and want to get the best benefit. Let's get as much persons as we can get into this session. Get the link and share it on WhatsApp, share it on Twitter. Let's get as much person as possible to join us tonight. Picking up at exactly 40, at about 10 minutes. So do not want to take time to get the link and share it and get as much persons as possible. Okay, guys. Yeah, so it's exactly 8:40, and we'll be commenting now. So yeah, so it's a recorded session. So if you missed it, you could just download the session probably after we are done. But as of now, we'll be commenting, and I'll be inviting our speaker for tonight, Emanuela, or our tutor for tonight, to take the stage. Hello, Emanuela, are you there? Yeah, hello, Emanuela, are you there? All right. I think our tutor for tonight is having a little network issue. So let's give her a few more minutes, and she'll be back online. Just a few more minutes. Okay, so while we wait for her, okay, she's back now. Okay, yeah, she's back now. So Emanuela, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Sorry.
Okay,
I don't know
okay.
what just happened with my network. Well, I'm back.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. So we could get started already. We're already two
Oh,
minutes behind time. So yeah, let's get started.
okay. All right. So, good evening, everyone. Um, Darlington, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right. So, I'll be sharing my screen and then we'll get started immediately. So, okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. Can you see my screen, Darlington?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, that's good. All right, thank you very much. So, good evening, everyone. Um, we'll be continuing from where we stopped last week. which is the start review card component that we're building from front end mentor. And today, basically, we just have to finish up what we started, and also basically finish up with the desktop version, and then get into the mobile, and also do that this evening. And as it stands, we don't have much time because we have to be done with that before 10 p.m. So we're getting started right away, and probably other people will join us along the way. I see one person here already. I don't know if there are more. But I can see Ifoma, good evening. Um, you're welcome to our session, and let's just get started. So I get my okay. Sorry, let me get this. Okay, so this is my VS Code. Let me increase the font size. I think I used 24 the last time. 24. So okay. Darlington, can you see the font very well? Is it bold enough?
Yeah, it's bold on my system, but I just want to check it on my phone. So, um,
Okay.
for those
Okay, please help me.
who would be using a phone, yeah, so to be sure it's
Okay.
actually bold. Okay. Yeah, I think it's okay on the phone too.
Okay. All right. So we'll be getting started. Let me quickly turn off the music. Let me stop this. Okay. So all right. So we'll be getting started. If you remember, if you were here last week, you should remember how far we came. This is where we stopped last week. So let me share this. Let me get this. Let me open this with live server. Okay, so this is where we stopped last week. This is what we were able to achieve last week, and we'll just carry on from here, and try to be as fast as possible so that we can finish up. So we have our HTML done already. We have some style elements already. We have our fonts and everything already imported. So we'll just be continuing from here basically. So getting down to here, let me open my live server again. I don't know if any of you actually noticed last week, but we're doing a lot of moving with this image. We're trying to get this image to be on the right side and actually just take up 50% of the weight of the container basically. So I was trying to use the position element for that. So this is my image element. So I was doing here. So I was doing a lot of moving with the positioning and everything. So while that can give you the results you want, it might actually come with some side effects that would affect you. I was trying to move it, doing a lot of calculations and everything, and just get it up. But what it also did is that I would have to come back, and whenever I'm done with my page, I will have to come back and deal with this whole space here, and then basically try to find a way to eliminate this space. If you try to work on this on your own, probably following the exact same steps that I followed, I'm sure you would have encountered this error. Probably too, if you try to move further and maybe take some steps ahead, you would realize that you would meet an issue somewhere. So I'm going to take away this whole positioning thing, this the left margin and the bottom margin that I gave to it. So I'm going to take it out. This thing is something that's a simple. Okay, it's back to the format that it was, the original HTML standard, which reads the elements from the top to the bottom, right? So this is what I had initially before I tried to do all the manipulation I did with the positioning. So but looking at this now, there's a simple CSS property i I can use to make everything align the way I want it. This is what we are trying to achieve. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is what I'm trying to achieve right here. So we got the body elements done. We've given the container that we want. So looking at this now, these are two elements that I can manipulate with a simple CSS property, and that property is the flex box property, CSS property. So that's what I'm going to use right here, and it should give me what I want. So I will come back up to the container that is carrying that image, right? The container that bears the image and the text. Remember that we have our the entire card components, which is this entire card comprises of the text container. This text is inside the container, and then the image too is in the container. As we can see it right here, we have the main container which carries everything. We have the text container right here, and then we have the image container somewhere around the bottom. Okay, right here. So this is my image container. So I'm going to use display flex to put them side by side and carry on from there. But before we carry on, I want to be sure that you can still hear me. So, Darlington, can you still hear me and see my screen?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can see your screen. Yeah.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. So, we'll carry on right from here. So, like I said, this is to achieve the thing I want to achieve. I can use a simple display flex instead of trying to do all the manipulation I was doing with um the manipulation I was trying to do with positioning and all of that. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so you can see that I already have what I want to get. So, well, not exactly so far, but at least we're getting there because now I have them side by side, right? Although I still have some space here which I can also um manipulate. So when you have display flex, you can justify content kind of. You can justify it such that there's a space in between. So when you use space between, it pushes everything, it pushes your elements to the two ends of your container, right? So that's what we're trying to achieve here. So I'm going to justify content. Sorry guys, I'm trying to be as fast as possible so that we don't waste too much time. So I will use space between and let's see what it does for us. Okay. So you can, if you look now, you can see that everything is right the way I want it, right? Because now the image has gone to the end. My text too is at the end, exactly where I want it to be. So so looking at the image, we are going to complete a lot of a few things on the general container first, and then we'll get down to the text container because we also have to make this text container to look like what we want. So coming to the design, so this is what we are trying to achieve, right? So when you look here, you can see that there's a bit of border edges around. So we are going to have that first of all, and then I think once we put our border radius, we are done basically with the everything that has to do with the image. So we now focus on the text aspect of everything. So I'm going to give the border radius of yeah, I'm going to give a border radius. Okay. So let's say something like let's say border radius of 5 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. So I have my border radius here. I hope you can see it. I have a bit of a border radius here, but it doesn't show on my image because the image is still a square on its own. The image container too is still like square. So I have to, if I want this place too to look like here, I have to go down and add this. But before that, this my container is too fixed to the top. So I will have to centralize it a bit. I have to bring it down to the center so that when I'm pointing towards the border, you will be able to see what I'm doing. So we'll put a hold on the border radius first of all. Let me bring the whole entire container down. So I'm going to use the I'm going to use the transform property. So I'm going to transform, and then I'm going to use translate. Translate is used to move objects or CSS objects. Basically, you move it either up or down or left or right. Yeah, so when you use translate x, you are trying to move it either left or right depending on the value you give it. If you use translate y, you are moving it up or down. So I'm trying to get it from the I'm trying to move it from the top here. I'm trying to give it a translation, like a translation that will make it to come down, right? So basically I'm trying to give it the margin from the top here, kind of. So I'm going to try, let me give it some value. So let me give it like maybe 50 pixels and see what that gives us. So okay, it's coming down a bit, but it's still, I want it to actually be like at the center, because this it has come down to an extent, but it's not exactly how I want it to be yet. So I want it to be like at the center. So I'm going to increase that a bit. Let's say maybe 80 pixels. See, okay. Okay, I would say this is good. I would say this is good. It's not exactly when you look at it, you might notice that this is not exactly equal to here yet, but I will remember that I have to put an attribute here. We removed our attribute at the beginning. If you remember, we're supposed to have like an attribute as the footer of this home of this page. Basically, we're supposed to have the attribute here, which they provided for us initially. But if you remember last week, we removed the attribute and brought it inside our text file. So we have our attributes here. Sorry, I keep saying attributes. I actually meant attribution rather, where you give yourself credit basically for the work you've done. So this is it. So we removed this for a while, but we are going to take it back. So basically, this is where I would want my attribution to appear right here. So I'm going to leave this for now. Leave this space for now. So let's get on with this. So back to the border radius. So I have 5 pixels, and let's compare it to this and see. Okay, yeah, pretty much. I think we are there. So this has also a border radius similar to what we have. So now the next thing we have to do is to now give our image on its own. We have to give this image also a border radius of 5 pixels, so that the entire container will have a border radius of 5 pixels, because actually I gave the container. Sorry, I keep moving around a lot. So here I gave my container a border radius of 5 pixels. So basically, these 5 pixels applies to all sides of this container, right? It applies to this side. It applies to this side, and like that. It applies here too. So, but because I have a square image on top, you can't really see the one below it. So I'm going to give this an equal border radius here and here, so that everything aligns properly. So I'm going to go to my image, where I have my image container, and I'm going to complete the border radius right there. So let's scroll down and find the image container. Okay, right here. So I'm going to give it a border radius. So the way most CSS elements, when you want to, you can use like a shorthand property to give a border radius to maybe an element that has like 4 sides or something. You get so border radius allows you to give. If I give a value of 5 pixels to the image, what I've simply done is to give 5 pixels border radius to all the sides of the image. And if you look closely, you can see that the 5 pixels applies here. It applies. Okay, let me kind of make it bigger so that you can, so it will be easier for you to see. Let's try 10 pixels so that you see. So you can see that the 10 pixels now has applied to all the sides of this image. So the shorthand property for that, I'm trying to make only this side and this side to have that border radius. So I'm going to now basically the border radius values, it reads from this point, and then it reads like in a clockwise manner. So that means here is 5 pixels, here is 5 pixels, here is 5, and then here is 5. So but I don't want this place to have a value of 5 and 5. I don't want these two places to have a value. So I'm going to give this place 0. I'm going to give this place a value of 5. I'm going to give this place a value of 5, and then I'm going to give this place a value of 0. So in a clockwise manner, you get elements styled. So let's do that. I'm going to remember the first part has to be 0, and then the next one we're going with 5. So let's just go with 5 pixels. We're going to give this a value of 5 pixels. The next one, which is the down part, give it 5 pixels, and then the last part is 0. So let's come back and look at it. So now you can see what we have here. If you look closely, you will see it. But I'm not sure this the border radius actually seems like it's not so visible. I don't know if maybe I should increase it. I hope it's not just my eyes, but let me just give everything border radius of 10 really, so that we'll see what we have. Okay, yeah, this looks better. So my I'll come back to the container element too and also give it 10 so that everything looks good. Everything looks the same. Okay, yeah. So I have this done so far. It's taking shape. It's beginning to take shape to an extent. So now we have to deal with the text container and get our text container styled up really. So get back inside here. What am I doing? Get back inside my CSS. So over to my text container, I'm going to give it a margin. So trying to bring it to the center. The margin basically is to make it's fixed to the end, the left end of this container. So I'm trying to make it to come in. Let me use this. There's this extension I use, pesticide. So pesticide is basically it helps you to look at it helps you to see the CSS box model and look at how each element is. So if you look at this now, this part that is highlighted, this long part that is highlighted is my text container. So I'm trying to make it to kind of have imagine from the end of the main container which it's located in, so that it can no longer be fixed at the end here. So I'm going to give it a margin of auto to make it come to the center. um let's see what that does for us. Okay, so this is what we have basically. So it gives it the margin of auto from all four sides. So basically, margin auto, you can use it to centralize your content so that everything is it kind of appears at the center. So that's that. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, we are going to have to deal with this font size and everything, because at the moment it's not, we are getting close, but we're not exactly there yet. Let's compare these two. No, let's compare these two. So my fonts, I have the same fonts here, I have the same fonts here. So basically what I would just have to do here is just to make my fonts bigger and deal with the spacing and everything. We're almost done with the desktop view actually. So I'm going to get into the fonts for this, and let's look at my H2 element, which is the first one. So I already gave it a font family last week. So I'm going to give it a font size to, let's see, make it bigger. So I'm going to give it a font size. Let me give it a font of 16 pixels. See. Okay, 16 pixels actually makes it smaller. So I would have to make this bigger. Um, Usually, one thing I always do when I'm going, most times when I go above 16 pixels, I tend to switch to rem. This is a personal thing anyway, but basically I know that one pixel is one rem rather is the same thing as 16 pixels. So if I'm going over if I'm going over 16 and maybe not like a definite value, like maybe like 18 or 20, I usually just tend to go go with rem. So basically, instead of me to write 32 pixels because I'm trying to double it, instead of me to write 32 pixels, I simply will just go with rem. They are the same thing. So let's see how 2rem looks. Okay, so I've doubled the size, and this is what we have. So let's work on this the part the paragraph. So I have to work on the paragraph element. Okay, so the paragraph, I also gave it a value last week. I already gave it a value of the font family of Inter, gave it this color. So the color is just to refresh our memory, this color was provided to us last week inside the style guide, where they said that the main paragraph, this is what we go with. Okay, so they actually gave us this value of 0.75. So, but I decided to go with 0.65. Why? Let me see why. Let's try the 0.75 and see what's different. Yeah, so this is the color they gave. We have. Let me see what 0.75 does. Okay, the difference is not actually much. The difference is basically, like I said last week, this whole thing is just to mess with the transparency, right? So to make it a little bit more transparent or darker depending on your choice. So this is what they said we should use, and for some reason I decided to use 0.65 last week, but from what I'm seeing, I think I actually it's really giving me the same thing. So we'll just go ahead with this. So anyway, let's save our time. Maybe when you do your own, when you work on yours, you can maybe decide on whatever value to give it. Like I said, always feel free to mess with colors and things like this, because that's how you actually learn more, and just understand how the entire thing goes. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to give it a font size also. So I'm going to give it a font size of 16 pixels again, basically one rem. So okay, this is what 16 pixels gives me, but it's a little bit crunched together. So I'm going to space it out a bit. So I'm going to I want to have space between this one line and the next line. And how I can achieve that is by using what we call line height. So line height will basically give me the space that I'm trying to achieve here. So line height usually is given it gets the value is given in, is it integers now? Most times, yeah. So you usually give you values in integers with no units. So if I give it like a line height of 2 now, basically I want the space to double. So let's give it 2 and see how what we get. Okay, so you can see that I have more space now. So, but the space, it seems to me that it's a bit too much. Let me compare with the desktop view that I have. Why does this keep happening? Try again. Okay, so you if you look at this and this, it seems like my space is a little bit too much. So I'm just going to reduce it like a little bit. So instead of using 2, let's just go with like 1.5. Let's see. Yeah, I think 1.5 looks a lot better. So we'll go with that. And the next is to style this our stats component, the stats, basically their numbers and everything, the number of people that they've been able to reach and all that. So that's where we have to work on next. So I will go inside my HTML and see what I have there. So okay. So I this is the part I just finished styling anyway. So here now, this is what I have. So I have to give this I have to give this like a class. I have to give it a class so that it will be easier for me to manipulate everything together. But first of all, before we get into giving them a class, let's take a look at our desktop design again. So once again, we have this, and when you look at this, you can observe that what you have here was it was done with also flexbox. This is flexbox at work. I'm also going to have to use like a display flex on it. So but if if I'm to give this a flex property, I can't exactly give it a flex without it being in like in one parent container basically. So I have to put these elements in a container. So everything here now, all these my p elements have to be in one container, and then it's that container that I will apply a property of display flex. So I'm going to give a div here. All right, so I'm going to give this a div with a class of stats. Okay, so this is what I have. I'm going to cut this and just paste it in. Okay, let's indent that properly. Okay, so that's it. So I will come inside my HTML and give this a display of flex first of all. So remember the class I have here is what? The class I have here is stats. I'm going to target the class element. Just give it stats. Let's give it a display of flex first of all and see what we have. Um, Darlington,
Yeah,
hello, Darlington.
Emanuela.
Okay, you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, yeah, very clearly.
Okay, 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 cool. Thank you. All right, so I applied the display of flex, and this is what we have. So it's working, right? We have to do a bit of um extra work on this. So let's get back into our HTML. So when you look at this, you will notice that first of all, this the text below each of these the numbers, right? The text has like a bit of a different styling from the main number on top of it. So if I want to apply like a different style to each of these properties, I would have to put it like in a span, because what I have now, if I'm to target anything here, let's look at our HTML. If I'm to target anything, whatever I apply to this now, it will apply to both my 10K and also apply to companies. And that's not exactly what I want. I want companies to have like a different styling from the number it's with, as according to what we have here. So I'm going to put all those numbers in like a span, not the numbers, rather the text. I'm going I'm going to put it in a span element. So let's do that. So I will have this here, paste it. I will do the same here. Okay, let me check something. Okay, so these things are actually capitalized, so let's just be doing that right away to not waste time. So I will have to capitalize everything here. Companies. Um, I'll do the same for these templates. All right, so queries. I'll do this too. This one first of all. Okay, so I had the queries here. My capitalized. My K, I think. If my K was capitalized. So let's save that and see what we have so far. Okay. Yeah. So it's coming together. So I will get into my CSS now and do the styling from there. So I gave my stats. I gave this a display of flex. So but it's crammed together. But I want to have space in between to actually be able to differentiate it, because as it's like this now, it's not even readable at all, and it's definitely not what we are trying to achieve, which is this. So I'm going to, first of all, like we did earlier with the general container when we were trying to space the image, I'm also going to give you a justify. I'm going to justify it and give it a space between. um let's see if it spaces it. Okay, so it gives it that space I want. So so far this is what we have, but again, I don't want this to be side by side with the numbers, right? I want it to appear beneath. So this one is just a simple something I can work on from the HTML to get that done. So I'm just going to come in here and right here. I'm just going to apply the break tag for all of them. So break basically gives a new line. We all know that now. So break is to give it a new line for me. So each of these should enter into a new line. Save it and look at this. All right. So that's exactly what I want to have. So now we'll now work on both the text or both the fonts. Sorry, we'll be working on like the fonts, the font family, the font size, and everything else. So let's get back into our CSS. Okay, where do we have that? So first of all, I have my 10K. I have the numbers. They have like a an outstanding kind of font styling and everything. So first of all, I'm going to have to go and work on this parts first of all, and then I'll come back and work on these smaller ones beneath. So first of all, inside my HTML, I have to know which element I'm trying to target, which is the P. So, but as I'm trying to target the P, I don't want to get to work do this, but because the span, which is this company, is still part of the P. So whatever I apply to the P will actually apply to it will apply to the span, but I will now correct it because the span is more targeted than the P. So when I now if I apply a style to the P, right, it will affect these companies too. It will affect all these things. But now if I apply a style to the span on its own, it can actually change it because of the specificity of CSS components. But anyway, let's see that as it plays out. So inside here I'm going to target my p the p element, but the P is like inside the stats. So I have to select the stats first, which is the class, and then select the P, which is located inside the stats. So let's just go straight ahead and do that. So I will select the class stats and then the P element inside it. So the P, I'm going to give it a font family, the same font family that we've been using. No. The font we've been using since is what's it called? It's called it's called Inter, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yeah, I'm going to maintain this same font. So let me just simply copy it to save time. Page down again. All right, so I'm going to give it this. Um, okay, it's we're getting there. I've applied the font. I'm going to give it a font size of I'll go with 2rem, see what that does. Okay, 2rem is actually too big. So we have to come down 16 pixels, which is 1rem. Let me take a look at my desktop. It has to actually be a bit okay. Let me let's try it. And maybe it should be able to this. Yeah. Okay, I think this is okay. So if you can observe, Sham, as I'm doing everything I'm doing is actually making the text, all this text to be getting bigger. All this text. So, but like I said earlier, we'll correct it later when we work with the span. So, but I want to make this bold, so I will have to work on the font weight. If you remember when we copied this font from Google Fonts, we selected 400, and for Inter here, for this Inter, we selected a weight of 400 and 700. So 400 is the normal weight that we have. 700 should make it bolder for me. So let me get down and select a font weight of 700. That should make it bold. All right, okay. So this is exactly what I want it to look like. So the numbers are set back. So I will come back to my span now. Like I said earlier, we have to now select the span on its own so that we'll correct everything that the other thing has changed for us. So I'll select my stats again. And as I'm selecting this stats, I know the span too is located like inside the stats. So the same way we selected the P, we'll select it the same way. So I have my stats and then select the span. Right. So first of all, I have to take the font size back to normal. It will maintain the same font family with the other one. So I'm going to reduce the font size now. So I have what's the font size? I have 18 here. So definitely whatever I'm giving the other one has to be quite small so that it can give that size I want it to. So let's go with 12 pixels and see. Okay. Okay, it's starting to look good. I think 12 pixels looks okay. The next thing, according to this, yeah, okay, the color. I have to change the color. Where did I get that from? I will give it the same color that the paragraph has. This paragraph element, because from here it's exactly the same thing they have here. So if you notice, you see that this and this are basically the same color. So I will just go and copy this color and use it right there. So let's look for the paragraph. Where did I have that? Okay, here. So this is the color. Um, Copy it over. Okay. All right. So it's starting to look like it. The next thing I want to touch is the font, because this font is not exactly the same with this one. The font for this one is a little bit different. And if you remember last week, we actually copied two fonts. We copied the Inter and then we copied Lexend Deca from Google Fonts. So this font now is the one I want to apply next. So let's touch the font family. I hope that's what I'm trying to. Font family, okay. Let's send. So if there's any confusion, because I keep referring back to what we've done last week, if there's any confusion, ensure to watch the last video, because most of these I keep speaking of are the things we did last week. So this is what the font gives us. I'm not sure this is quite what we want it to look like. Um Desktop design. Okay, that's actually it. It's actually the same font. So let's proceed. The next thing I have to touch is the font weight because it still carries the font weight from the span still maintains the font weight which we gave it earlier here. I'm going to take that back to 400. So it becomes lighter. Let's see. Okay. So so far you can see that it's practically what we want it to look like to a large extent. I think we are very close to having our desktop view done. Let's also compare it once again and see what we have. So to an extent, we are pretty much there. The fonts, everything. Okay, the next thing I have to now do is I have to the weight the width that this thing takes. You can see how the text for the image is structured. It says get insights that help, and then the next word starts from the next line. So you probably maybe you're thinking I will go with break or something, but it's not exactly what break tag will do for me in the HTML. So basically, what I'm trying to do here is I'm just going to manipulate this using the width of the various containers so that it becomes it looks exactly like what we have here. So let's do that. Sorry, let me quickly check the comments. Is there any? Sorry about that. Okay. Darlington, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, and you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. I've been here like for a while, so I just checked to see if there were any questions in the chat or anything. So, but maybe in case someone drops a question, please call my attention to it in case I don't see it early enough. Right?
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, okay. I'll
Okay.
look
Thank you.
at that. I don't
Thank
think
you
there are
very
any
much.
questions for now yet.
Yeah. There are no questions. I checked. There are no questions so far. So so guys, let's carry on. So like I said, what I'm trying to achieve is that text the width variation. Basically, we are done. No, we're done with everything. I just want to make the width to be exactly the same with what we have in this image. So already you know that my text container has is taking up a width of 40% of this the entire container, which gives it the width that it has here so far. So but now what I want to touch now is this one, this the width here, so that I'll make it a little bit smaller. So now this thing, it might have to, I don't know if I would say that it has to do with a bit of mathematics, right? Because this entire text that we have here, this entire text container, it's taking up 40% of the screen size of the container. Sorry, it's taking up 40% of this entire container that is carrying this entire card container. So, but now this H2 that we have here is basically taking up 100% of the width of that 40% that we have. It's taking up 100% of that 40%. I don't know if you understand what I mean. But if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. I'll try to explain as much as I can. But what I want to manipulate now is the width of the H2 sha, so that we can get it to um look like what we have. So anyway, let me just go ahead and give it a width. So I'll give this a width of let me do something dramatic first of all. So of course I don't want it to be 50%, but let me show you what I mean by that, the width something like okay. So you can see what I mean now. So this H2 now it's taking up 50% of, not 50% of this entire container, but 50% of the container that it's located in. And remember, my H2 is located in the text container, right? My text container is taking up 40% of this card. The H2 is taking up now 50% of that 40%. So let me just briefly walk you through our HTML so you see what I mean. So this is where I have my text container. This is the class text container. This entire div. I remember that everything I have inside all the text I have is located inside the text container, and then the H2. Now I've given it a width of 50%, which makes it to look like this. Of course, I won't leave it this way. So we'll have to increase that. So let me try 70% and see if it's get insights that help your business grow. Um okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's pretty much. It looks like it's comparing this and this. The H2 is starting to look like it's right. So the next thing I have to touch now is the paragraph. Um, let me just leave this. I don't know if instead of having to move back and forth. Okay, let me just still make it big. Just continue that way. So the next element that will touch the width now is the paragraph. So the paragraph I will remember the same thing, just like it applies for the H2. It's also similar here. So basically now, right now, my paragraph is also taking up like 100% of the width of the text container. So I want to make it to come together a little bit so that it takes up 3 lines like this one. So like this one now that takes up 3 lines, I want it to be like that. So let's go in there. In my paragraph, I also touch the width. So let me give it a width of give it 70% first of all. Okay, you see what 70% does to it. This is definitely not what I want. So let's see this. This is not what I want it to look like now. You see. So I will have to increase my 70%. Um let's give it let me just try 90% straight up so that we can see. Okay, discover the benefits that make your business better. Let's take a look. Okay. Um it's not exactly this first line ends with make, and you can see mine ends with better. So that means the width of my own is a little bit too much. The width I have here is a little bit too much. So I will have to reduce my own width. That's basically what it means. So instead of 90, where's that? Instead of having 90, let me see. If 80 doesn't do it, then I will have to go with 85. Okay. I think this is it. I think this is what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's definitely it. So now my again, let's look. So now you can see how this is starting to look, and my my stats component now seems to be a little bit too wide. So I also have to touch that. So it seems to be a little too wider than the rest of the text. So we have to maintain uniformity. So I will get back into my stats where I have my stats component, and now it's the stats I'm going to touch you. The stats, the class, the entire thing, which is the stats, and not the not the paragraph, not the span, but the stats itself. So this is what I'm going to go into. So just give this a width of what am I doing? A width of 90%. Let's check 90. How this does it? Same thing. Okay. Let's do a quick comparison. Actually, um Okay. Okay. Not exactly there yet. I will have to reduce it still. So just go with 80%. Okay, so I think 80% does it. So, but now this is what I have, right? But the space here seems to be it's not now in the center as much as I would want it to be. So I'm just going to give it some margin still, so that it pushes it more towards the center, so that it centralizes a little bit. So that's just something that margin left will do for me. So I'm going to add a margin to, sorry, I keep saying margin. Um Padding rather. I'm going to give it a padding, a left padding, but that will be to the text container, because I'm trying to move the entire text, everything in the text now. I'm trying to move it towards the center, not just the H2, not just the paragraph, but everything here. So I'm going to manipulate the text container. So just going to give it a padding of let's see, my text container. I'm going to give it a left padding only. So that's padding left. Let me see, two rem. Okay, okay. There's still a bit more space here than here. Maybe 2.5, maybe 3. Let me see if 3 does it. Okay. I think 3 rem is way better. I think it's way better. Let's take a look again. Okay, so far it seems like what we want to achieve now. It seems like what we want to achieve. It seems everything is looking like it. So okay, I think this place has a little bit more space. I think I might just have to add some padding to the stats components. So the start let me be sure of what I want to. Let me quickly inspect this. Let me be sure if it's the padding I want to mess with, or the margin. Okay, it doesn't currently doesn't have a padding, so I can go ahead and give it padding. So let me just give it a padding top and see if that does it. The entire stats component. Let me just give it a padding top. Padding top of 2 rem. Where do I keep playing control A? Okay, it gives you that space I want. I might have to do the same thing here too. Let me give the paragraph a bit of padding also. Let's say padding top. But it will be lesser than the other one. So let's just go with 1 room. Let's see that. Um, I think to a large extent we have what we need. So finally, let me just bring back that attribution that we took out earlier. So I'm just going to cut this from here and put it back inside the footer where I want it to be in my HTML, and quickly style it. Um, I want it to be in the footer. So this is it. So it says challenged by blah 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 blah, front end mentor, correct? Coded by. So this is where you put your name. So you can decide to. You can see that they've given it to you. You are supposed to have like your name in like an anchor tag. So basically, your name should lead somewhere. So let me put my name, Emanuela, and this hash is this is supposed to be where you put your link. So I'll just put the link to my Twitter. Um, hope I have this correct. Slash the okay. So this is my Twitter handle. So now when you click on the, I've saved this. Let me see how it appears here. Okay, this is where it's located. So I'm going to bring it down when I style it. But basically, when you now click on the name, when you click on my name, it should lead you to my Twitter handle. But let's get into the CSS and style it. So the attribution, let's get down here and just quickly style it. So attribution, hope I have that correct. Yes, attribution. So first of all, I'm going to give it, if you noticed, it's kind of at the edge here. It's left aligned. So I'm going to give it I'm going to make it center aligned. But before I make it center aligned, I have to bring it down so that you can be seeing what is happening behind. Because if I make it center aligned now, it will go behind this container right here and it will disappear. So I'm going to still use that transform element that I use for this container. It's now this is where it's supposed to appear or as by the HTML format, but because I've used transform on this, I pushed this container down. So now the container is coming above it. So I also have to translate this, bring it down so that it appears, because this one is taking the space where it's supposed to be. So first of all, let me transform it first and give it a translate y still. So I'm trying to move it down. So let's say I'm moving it down by 50 pixels. Okay, it's coming down, not as low as I wanted. So let's say 100 here. Okay, so I think it's low enough so we can see what's actually going on. So the next thing I have to do is to make it um now I have to give it that text align center. And then while we're at it, let's just give it a color. So the color I would like to give it is white. Okay, so this is what I have. Okay, it already had even the white color self. So I don't like the blue color that this thing has. So I'm going to give it a color that I like. But before I give it a color, let me give it a font that I want it to have. So I'm going to give it a font of let me go with, we have two fonts that we're working with. So let me give you this other font I used for the stats present decker. When you don't have this, fall back on sans serif. Okay. All right. So okay, so this is the font I wanted to have, and okay. So like I said, I don't like this color. I don't like this blue color, because when you look at this page now, it's a bit off, because my page basically has the whole purple idea behind it, and now this one now is coming to have blue. It doesn't really make sense. So I'm going to give this like a purple color. So but that's just the styling that is given to it by this the anchor tag. So I'm going to just correct that by selecting the anchor tag specifically. So I'm going to come in here, attribution, select the anchor tag, delete it, and I'm going to give it a color. So so have this particular color. I got it selected already. This is the color I've used this color earlier. Okay, so this is what I want it to look like. I also don't want it to have that underline. So I'm going to take away the text decoration none. So yeah, so far it's looking good. It's looking good. I'm going to have to. I want to make this to come down. This I want to give it a break here. So I'm just going to go into my HTML and give it a line break. Um, this is where it ends. I'll take away this full stop. I actually don't like that full stop there. So I'm going to give it a break element. Let's see what it does for us. Okay. Okay, it looks good. I think I prefer it to look this way. But of course, if you have a different preference, you can do that. Now my challenge is a little bit too close to this, so I'm going to give you just a top margin, a little bit of top margin, so that it has a space from here to the card. So let's just quickly do that. Under my attribution right here. So let me just give the margin top, margin top of two. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, this is what I want to have. So far we've gotten this. So now we have to get into the let's quickly style what's it called? We have to style um the mobile view. Sorry. So let's we are done with the desktop view. So let's quickly do the mobile view down here. So we'll come down here. Like one of the focuses of this class was for us to be able to get into media queries and see how media queries work. So this is where we are going to work on the mobile design. So mobile to make a website responsive, basically we make use of what we call media queries. So inside the style guide, the a front end mentor really actually gave us um a width that they expect us to use. So for the desktop view, you're supposed to like use a width of 1440 pixels, which covers for most desktops anyway. And then for mobile view, use a width of a maximum width of 375 pixels, which is like the width of most phones. But I've noticed that most phones, there are some phones that are above 375 pixels. Like my own phone screen has it's above 375. So what it means is that if I give this a media width of 375 now, it won't be responsive on my own device because my screen is bigger than 375. So I'm going to I did some research and I found out that um what's it called, a screen size that is more responsive, it kind of covers for most devices, is 415 pixels, and I will show you how I actually arrived at that. So but let me put in my media property first of all, the media screen. So I'm going to give it a max width now, max width of I'm going to give it a max width of 415 pixels. So now this value basically will cover for almost any mobile device that you can think of. So let me show you how we arrived at that. Let me inspect this. So this is, I don't know if you can see what I want to click. This part now, this is what I used to kind of test for the what I'm building. So I just took that out. So trying to reduce, yeah, remove this from the screen so that you can see. So this is the 375 that is prescribed. So but let me say for like maybe like a Samsung device, now you can see that a Samsung device has a width of like 412 pixels. um I think okay, S8 has 360, S20 has 412. So this all these variations basically are what affects different devices. So if I work with 375 now, for somebody that is using like an S20 now, obviously it won't work on their phone. It will scatter on their phone. It will be looking like this because this is not the screen. I didn't use the right screen resolution. So basically, I decided to use 415 because, like I said, 415 kind of covers for every screen size that you can think of. So this is what we'll be working with. We'll be working with it. So as we're working on our style sheet, we'll often come back to look at that screen and see what what it looks like. So now this is what I'll be referring to. We are done with the desktop, so I'll be referring to this mostly. So when you look at this now, you can see that, well, basically everything here is center aligned. So I think that will be the first thing I would have to do. So for the body, I'll um just give the entire body a text align of center. So I think it keeps giving me an error. I don't understand where it's coming from. Sorry. This error actually keeps appearing. I'm wondering where it's coming from. That screen. Max width. I'm going to give you max width as I did earlier. 115 pixels. I want to understand what's going on. All right, so I've given my body a text align of center. So when you the text should be aligned to the center, but now we can't see that happening because our image is kind of messing everything up. So um and one thing again you have to actually bear in mind is that when you're working with media queries and everything, any style that you don't specifically put in here, like any style that you don't specify here, it takes it from the one you've done before, which is the desktop view, because I'm trying to do everything like in the same style sheet, right? So if I don't put any style I don't put here, it takes the one I already put from the desktop. So that is why my image now, I've not specified how I want my image to look like for mobile phones. I've not specified what I want my image to look like on phone. So it's still looking like what I put it, the design I gave it for the desktop, which is what take 50% of the screen size, give a border radius here and give a border radius here and here, down here. So it's still taking up the styles I gave it from the um what's it called? From the desktop. So let me quickly work on the image container. Let me see if my image will. So like we have here, I have to select my image container right here. So select the image container. Now I will have to change the image. Of course, I won't go with the initial. If you remember how we gave our image before, I'm going to give it a background URL, background image. Um, I want to mention something. If you remember how we gave the background of the desktop view initially, where was that? Yeah, under images. So we had a different image. We used this one for the desktop, this image header desktop. So for this one now, I will have to use the one for mobile, which is this. So I will have to target where it is. It's located in my folder, images folder, and then image header mobile. This is what I want. So going to give it a background size of cover. So it takes up, covers the, and of course it doesn't repeat. So let's look at this so far. Okay, nothing changes, right? So I will have to do something to my container because the image is not exactly giving me what, it's not showing me what I want it to show me yet. So let me work on the entire container and then come back to the images the same way we did it here. Because if you recall last week I mentioned that when you, it's best to work on your CSS the way it appears, like structure it accordingly as you go down in your HTML. It makes everything easier for you. So if you remember, as we did, we gave the body the style. The next thing we worked on was actually our container, which contains everything. So I'm going to come back down, and then try to give my container try to get my container to work the way I want it to, so that whatever I do to the image, it doesn't mess up anymore. So I'm going to select the entire container body of the element. So let me refer to my mobile design. Okay. Okay. The If you notice the container now takes it's the container is first of all in the center, right? And it's not taking up 100% of the screen. If you notice, there's like a bit of space here and here. So that should mean that my container should maybe I would assume it has a width of let me say 90%. 90% of the viewport width, same way we did it earlier. Okay. Okay, I think it takes up that 90% now. There's like a bit of 10% here, 10% here, or rather 5 to complete it to the 100% that I want it to look like. So now, if you observe, let's get back here. So if you observe now, everything is still like, it's still space, it's still what's the word? It's still standing the way I specified it in my desktop view, because in the desktop view I actually use like a display. I gave it like a flex box display, so it's still seated um side by side. So in Flexbox, when you're working with Flexbox, once you give like a display flex, the automatic direction it goes in like a row version. So that's why when you use display flex, you find out that the two things tend to sit side by side. So, but if you now want it to probably look like in a different manner, you have to now work on that. So what I have here now, I have it in a column version for my mobile. Look at the desktop, we have it in a row version. We have the text container, we have the image container, right? So but for my mobile, you find out that the image container comes to be on top while the text container comes under. So what will help you achieve this is the column, um column direction. So I will come back inside my container. First of all, I'm going to give it a display of flex. If I give it a display of flex, nothing will really change because it's still the same flex that it gets from the desktop. As you can see, nothing changes. So, but I'm going to now give it a flex direction. When I give it a flex direction, now you see it begin to take shape. So I'm going to give it a flex direction. I'm going to give it a flex direction of column. So okay, it still doesn't give me anything because of the initial width that I specified for it. So let's now work on the width. My image container, I gave my image a initially let me check my desktop. I have my desktop, my text container is taking up 40%, correct? My image container takes up a width of 50%. Okay, this is for my desktop view. For my mobile view now, obviously my image is not taking up 50%. My image is taking up 100% of the screen, whereas in the desktop view, it's taking up 50. My text container also is taking up a width of 40% here, but over here, this is not exactly 40%. This should be close to of this container now. Anyway, we'll work on that and see what it gives us. So let me get to my image container first of all in the mobile. Let me give my image container a width. I'll give it a width of 100%. Now I want it to fill the screen. Let me see if that does what I want it to do. 100% of the container it's in. Okay, still doesn't do that. All right. I think I will have to get into my text container next. Let's see. Text container. Um, Let me give it a width of maybe give this a width of 80%. Let me see.
Okay, Emanuela, I think we just lost you. Are you there? Okay, guys. I think she might be having a little issue with her network. So in a few minutes, I think she'll be back soon. Yeah, in a few minutes she'll be back. Okay, guys. So while we wait for her, I just want to clarify that this is just a single series in a lot of workshops we've been doing. We've been holding quite some dev sessions since I think last month, and we have quite a few on Git and GitHub, HTML and CSS, and some of the basic stuffs that could help you get started in blockchain development and programming in general. So if you are just joining us for the first time, I would advise you visit our YouTube channel at https youtube.com/blockchainUNN, and yeah, you could find some very good tutorials there if you are looking for a place to get started in with your blockchain development journey or your software development journey. So yeah, and after each session or workshop we do give out assignments, and just after we are done with today's session, we'll be dropping an assignment on the group chat, on the WhatsApp group chat. So the WhatsApp group chat is our it's an enclosed group chat for our development community, and if you are interested in joining in, you could send okay, you could send a message on the live chat or send me a message after now, and a Google form link will be shared to you, which you could actually use to join the group chats, and would be, like I said earlier, I will be dishing out assignments just after we are done with this session, and the assignments would can be found on our GitHub page. Our The assignments can be found on our GitHub repository, our GitHub account. So if you've not followed blockchain UNN on GitHub yet, do well to go to our account on GitHub at github.com/blockchainUNN and give us a follow. There you'd also see some starter kits for our previous session, and you could actually clone those and get started, find the session that corresponds with it, and try to work out something. So slowly and consistently you get to begin to build yourself, and and specify your as in and move faster towards your goal of becoming a blockchain developer. Yeah, so okay, so let me reach out to Emanuela, let me know what the issue is, and I'll get back to us in a minute. Okay. I think we'll be calling it a day for tonight. We are so sorry about this. This was not planned. This was not expected at all. But I think we might have to call it a day for tonight. Well, it's already past our time. We're supposed to end by 10 o'clock at the dot, and it's already 10:08. So I want to say thank you to everyone for coming around. We greatly appreciate your presence, and as always, we are committed to ensuring that you guys become the best that you guys can be. So if you have any questions as regards to this session or any other session, you could just send us a message on WhatsApp, send a message to the WhatsApp group. And like I said earlier, if you've not followed BlockchainUNN on GitHub, head over to github.com/blockchainUNN and give us a follow. And yeah, that would be all for tonight. Thank you so much, guys. I greatly appreciate. Good night, everyone.